The Tomb Raider series is one of the cornerstones of the PlayStation 1 era. I still remember diving into terrifying ancient tombs for the first time, the frustration of Lara Croft's tricky jumps, dying to booby traps, dinosaurs, and miscalculations. The exploration felt limitless, the danger lurked in every shadow, and Lara Croft stood as the most charming character of the mid-90s. I don't know about you, but to me, Tomb Raider titles were sometimes more terrifying than PlayStation 1 horror titles. The dark ambience, unforgiving level design, and each corner rewarding the players if they're up for some exploration. The early Tomb Raider titles were full of adventure, and with the release of Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered, I had the chance to relive those experiences. And let me tell you, it's been a ride full of frustration. As I grew older, my patience grew thin for the cryptic level design, getting lost nearly in every unforgiving level, trying to find the correct way, or the key that I didn't collect, backtracking all the way to open up a new path. But hey, that's why I've done the hard part for you. I beaten the first 3 Tomb Raider titles, and I'm here to guide you through the iconic moments, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So maybe you can decide if these classics are worth your time or get ready for the upcoming Tomb Raider 4-6 Remastered. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today I will talk about the trilogy that started it all. Before we delve into the Remastered trilogy, let's talk about the Tomb Raider series. The Tomb Raider franchise of the PlayStation 1 era has been known as the trailblazer adventure experience since its debut, blending exploration, puzzle solving, and combat into unforgiving yet impactful experience. At its core, Tomb Raider is about uncovering the secrets of ancient civilizations, navigating deadly traps, and solving intricate puzzles, all while battling mercenaries, mythological creatures, and even dinosaurs. When Tomb Raider first launched in 1996, it revolutionized 3D gaming with its expansive environments, and of course with Lara Croft's bold charm and iconic design, making her the face of the adventure genre for an entire generation. With Lara Croft herself becoming a cultural icon, Tomb Raider carved out its own niche, becoming the gold standard for 3D adventure games, while titles like Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, or Final Fantasy were pushing the boundaries of storytelling. What made Tomb Raider unique was its focus on exploration and player-driven discovery. Unlike many modern games that guide players with waypoints and hints, Tomb Raider trusted players to figure things out on their own. This sense of independence was both its greatest strength as well as its most frustrating aspect. You weren't just solving puzzles, you were also trying to find the correct way, experiment with gravity or deadly traps, trying to figure out only to realize paths and solutions that weren't immediately obvious. I know I'm fully aware that Tomb Raider 1-3 demands observation, patience, and of course curiosity. I also realize that it rewards all of these aspects and the care of players with ammunition, supplies, and whatsoever. However, I also realize that my patience for trial and error, spending more than 1 hour for only just a level, has grown thin. I realized that I didn't want to spend much time. My patience and my tolerance for obnoxious level designs were not there anymore. And because of that, Tomb Raider also felt like some of its levels were aged quite well and some don't. Trying to find every hidden switch, climbable ledge, and sometimes clever but also a lot of times frustratingly concealed pathways. They also come with their own sense of accomplishment or frustration. Although these games challenge you and sometimes desire you to think like Lara Croft herself, it is also quite tough to figure out that an obscure hidden switch might open up a way to an area in the initial stage of a level. With that, let's start with the first Tomb Raider title, its story, level designs, and what it offered back in 1996. Whether you like it or not, the first Tomb Raider was groundbreaking. Released at a time when 3D graphics, the third-person action genre, were still doing its baby steps. The first Tomb Raider didn't just introduce us to Lara Croft, who is one of the most impactful video game characters ever made, but it also refined what adventure games could be. The story of Tomb Raider begins with Lara Croft being hired by the wealthy and enigmatic Jacqueline Natla to recover a piece of the Scion, an ancient artifact said to hold incredible power. Tomb Raider starts in the snow-covered mountains of Peru, where Lara discovers the tomb of Kolopek, but as she collects the artifact, it becomes clear that Natla's motives are far from altruistic. Betrayed and left for dead, Lara sets out on her own to uncover the remaining pieces of the Scion, traveling across the globe to Greece, Egypt, and finally, Atlantis. Although the narrative might seem simplistic by modern standards, Lara Croft's journey is presented by CGI cutscenes that are full of dialogues, showcasing more about Lara's personality and her adversaries as well. Not only that, each new chapter and each new map gives just enough context to drive the action forward, while leaving plenty of rooms for players to immerse themselves in the environment. The opening sequence of Peru sets the tone for adventure, combining stunning landscapes with an eerie sense of isolation, with the iconic moments of Lara's encounter with a T-Rex. Then the whole concept changes when Lara travels to Greece to find the second piece, trying to solve deadly puzzles that are influenced by mythological gods. When Lara finds the second piece and moves to Egypt, players get to experience Tomb Raider's darker, more sinister side. Mummies, centaurs, winged creatures all become enemies of Lara Croft as she moves on to biomechanical nightmare Atlantis. Atlantis, which we all know is different in Tomb Raider. Surrounded by pulsating walls, grotesque creatures and surreal architecture, Atlantis maps could easily challenge many horror titles of the PlayStation 1 era. As she continues her journey, as Lara assembles the final pieces of the Scion, she uncovers the truth about Natla as well. Natla is one of the three rulers of Atlantis, betrayed and imprisoned by her fellow rulers centuries ago for attempting to use the Scion's power for her own ends. It may seem like a classic tale of exploration, discovery and betrayal, but with Natla serving as a memorable antagonist, Atlantis ending up being an organic, biopunk horror theme nails what Tomb Raider tries to achieve. Although the platforming sequences and Lara's jump issues may frustrate you in some cases, I still like the first Tomb Raider more than second and possibly more than third title as well. Maybe it's because of the first Tomb Raider having more iconic moments for me, but the expansive environments, clever puzzles and a sense of isolation, these all make Tomb Raider an impactful journey. Sadly, I cannot say the same for the sequel. Tomb Raider 2, on the other hand, was a bold attempt to build on the success of its predecessor, expanding the scope of the gameplay, the level design, the mystery, the exploration, while introducing new mechanics. However, bigger doesn't always mean better, and for me, although I was quite hyped to play Tomb Raider 2 after more than 10 years, the sequel falls short in many ways, especially during the Rick and Maria Doria levels. The story of Tomb Raider 2 begins with Lara Croft embarking on a quest to recover the Dagger of Shan, an artifact set to grant the power of a dragon to whoever plunges it into their heart. While the setting and the concept are intriguing, adding a new twist to the mythological narrative, the execution feels more like a secondary concern compared to the game's heavy focus on action. Tomb Raider 2 leans heavily into combat, especially against human enemies. It leans so much that it forgets to add narrative focus or even dialogues that could expand upon Lara and her growth. The opening level on the Great Wall of China starts strong and feels like a natural continuation of the first game, balancing exploration and puzzles with a touch of action. However, this balance quickly shifts as the game progresses. Human enemies take center stage, replacing the mystery of ancient tombs with shootouts, feeling like the developers just couldn't create a balance between the dangers that lurk within the exploration and the adversaries that try to prevent Lara from succeeding. As Lara Croft uncovers hints of a sinister plot involving Marco Bartoli, a ruthless cult leader who seeks the dagger of Shan to achieve his own goals, she initially follows Bartoli's trail to Venice. Don't get me wrong, the platforming, the exploration and the action are still in a balance here, although presenting more gun-blazing action than the prequel. While visually striking with picturesque canals and unique architecture of Venice, fighting against Bartoli's men also creates a cinematic flair. However, one of my biggest gripes with Tomb Raider 2 lies in its infamous Rick and Maria Doria levels. Set in a wreckage of a sunken ship, these levels are the correct definition of confusing, disorienting, frustrating platforming sequences. If you hate The Legend of Zelda's Water Temple sections, wait till you see these levels. As the story deepens as Lara infiltrates Bartoli's hideout, uncovering his plans to find the dagger of Shan, she gets captured and taken aboard Bartoli's offshore oil rig, where it leads to her to the wreckage of the Maria Doria, an ocean liner that sank decades ago. Up until the end of Maria Doria section, Tomb Raider 2 presents an experience that focuses on platforming and action mostly. But as Lara follows Bartoli's trail to Tibet, Tomb Raider's unique aspect begins to appear once again. The monastery full of Tibetan monks, sacred grounds with mystical and mythological elements, and this atmosphere continues until the very end. As Bartoli, having finally claimed the dagger, he uses its power to transform into a dragon, forcing Lara into a desperate final battle. Throughout all of this narrative, Lara's journey is presented with CGI cutscenes without any dialogues. Sadly, compared to the first game, Tomb Raider 2 struggles to deliver the same kind of iconic and impactful moments that stick with you long after you have finished playing. Sadly, all that stayed with me after playing Tomb Raider 2 was the level design that I just wish to be done with as quickly as possible. If Tomb Raider 2 was a bold attempt to expand upon the first game, Tomb Raider 3 was where ambition reached its peak, and in many ways, its limits. Just like how many trilogy titles evolved and grew, Tomb Raider series shared the same fate, with the second title having the issues but the third one evolving into something far greater. A narrative that is presented with CGI cutscenes full of dialogues, a non-linear structure with urban and mystical settings blended to present a diverse experience. While Tomb Raider 3 brought innovation and variety, it also came with some of the most punishing level designs, though not being frustrating just like the Tomb Raider 2 was. The story of Tomb Raider 3 centers around a meteorite that crashed to Earth millions of years ago, scattering fragments imbued with immense power. These fragments, now known as the Infada Stones, are all in different regions of the world and have different names, and our journey begins in the lush and perilous jungles of India, where Lara searches for the Infada Stone. As these levels are a visual treat, it feels like a return to the origins. Waterfalls, ancient ruins hidden deep within the wilderness, and naughty monkeys that steal items from you. As Lara encounters Dr. Willett, a scientist with his own agenda for the meteorite fragments, his motive serves as a catalyst for Lara's global adventure, setting the stage for her pursuit of the remaining artifacts. One of the standout features of Tomb Raider 3 is its non-linear progression. After completing the India section, players are given the freedom to choose the order in which they tackle the next 3 locations: London, the South Pacific Islands, and Nevada. This structure was groundbreaking for its time, enabling players to tailor their experience however they see fit. Although the first London level is my favorite, possibly how it reminds me of Tomb Raider 6 Angel of Darkness, I started with Nevada, remembering how much high security compound level used to frighten me when I was a kid. The Nevada section shifts the tone, placing Lara in Nevada desert where she is captured and then put in a high security military compound. Although these levels are infamous for their difficulty, I think they are not still as frustrating as Tomb Raider 2's levels. It might be challenging, but not frustrating. As Lara is stripped of her weapons and must rely on stealth to navigate the prison and recover her gear first, addition of espionage and Lara's vulnerability creates a tone that goes well with Tomb Raider franchise. As next, the South Pacific levels bring a welcome return to series roots. These levels delve into tribal mythology with puzzles and traps inspired by local legends. One of the most memorable moments in this section is the encounter with the T-Rex, a very homage to the first very title. And before leaving for the final region, Lara also heads to London into a gritty, urban setting. Here she infiltrates a bio-research facility hidden beneath the city's industrial skyline into a dark, atmospheric ambience filled with industrial hazards. Among these levels, Lutz Gate was my least favorite, where it was quite difficult to understand where to go and what to obtain, leading to a confusion quite easily. And one of my favorites, Antarctica map that is influenced by John Carpenter's The Thing, where the narrative reaches its climax as Lara Croft confronts Dr. Willett and uncovers the full extent of his plans. The icy wastelands of Antarctica are both beautiful and engaging with vast open spaces that contrast sharply with the corridors of the earlier levels. As Lara collects all of the fragments from the previous regions she visited, it leads to a final showdown with Dr. Willard, who has been transformed into a grotesque spider-like creature by the power of the meteorite. As Lara defeats Willard by collecting the fragments from the Alta, making the grotesque creature vulnerable, she escapes from the Antarctica and concluding her journey for now. But the story doesn't just end here. With Tomb Raider 4/6 Remastered on the horizon, we're about to step into a new chapter of Lara Croft's journey. These upcoming titles promise to delve deeper into her character, with The Last Revelation exploring her roots in Egypt, Chronicles weaving together tales from her past, and The Angel of Darkness marking a darker, more personal chapter in the franchise. Each game builds upon the foundation laid by the original trilogy, introducing new mechanics, richer narratives, and of course, even more challenging adventures. Needless to say, it's worth reflecting on how far Lara Croft has come. From the isolated tombs of Peru to sprawling ruins of Atlantis, the icy wastelands of Antarctica and beyond. The early Tomb Raider games were never easy, but they were unforgettable, and they set the stage for one of the most enduring icons. Lara Croft captivated players with her adventures, blending exploration, danger and discovery, carving a legacy that continues to inspire the adventure genre. And I, for one, just want her legacy to build upon for many generations. As always, thank you for watching today's video. Which Tomb Raider title is your favorite? Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join are really appreciated, and I will see you soon in my next video.